Okay. Let's try again. How are we back? Should be back into sound. Let me actually get the... Okay. Is this better?
Yep, reset the...
There it goes. There it goes.
Reset
It's got
the screen, so yep.
Yeah, it's got a little delay on it, so we're good, I think. So hopefully it's looking like it's moving now. It's funny because it worked on my test earlier. Oh, well then. Hi. We'll repeat. I'm Cindy.
And Michael.
And Bella's awake and active from Part-Time Permies. And now we have sound. Yay! So hello to Tammy. And I'll try not to say Sawyer. Kara, Kiri, Tina. I think that's all who's chatted so far. And as I was saying before I had sound, Miss Bella is wearing an outfit that is from Grandma, but it's a little bit big on her, so we have some room to grow into it. I think it's a 12-month outfit, so that'll be perfect. And she's definitely active. So, oh, and got to keep things out of her reach. Sorry, I forgot about that. So we have a lot of stuff. We're going for a whole month here, guys. So I'm going to run really quickly through the videos from this last month, since last time we saw you guys. So if you missed any of these, I've been posting about one a week. I'm going for most recent back in time. So the last video that we posted was about heat mat versus hot compost. I like the hot compost system. It actually worked pretty well. The heat mat we had problems with, so you'll have to check that out. My niece wanted to do her own video on what she learned about plantains and how you can use them and identify them. So she actually was the guest on this video and did it basically all by herself, just minimal assistance from me. We had a food forest update. So that was a while ago now, it seems like.
Just a couple weeks. We've had probably 20 some new starts in the front and back.
Yep. We had a meat chick brooder update, and this was actually primarily done by my nephew, who was visiting us just before our last live show.
That was about 2 months ago.
A month and a half ago. It was April 24th week. But it was released on video just after the last live show. So those have been the videos of the last 4 weeks. And I hope you can catch some of those. And yeah, Garrison, notice the new outfit. Yes, it looks nice and it's nice and cool. So she has a nice summer outfit. And Green Gables is in the room. Hello, Green Gables. Oh, Hatu. So those are the videos that we've done so far. We have a lot of things going on with our chickens right now. So these are pictures of the same chickens. Down below was the week 1, which would have been probably the week of the 24th or before that, the week before that. And up above is just probably in the last week or so. It's amazing how fast Cornish cross grow.
May 24th, not June. Well, no, that was
April 24th.
April 24th.
April 24th.
April 24th, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then, hi, Michigan Mike. So yeah, we have our meat chickens. They are being processed next.
We're going to do them next week, next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
Yeah, and so they're what, 8.5? You said 8.5.
They will be 8.5 weeks. Here's their setup right now on pasture. They've been on pasture the last 3 weeks.
3-ish, yeah.
Yeah, I want to say 3 weeks.
We got them out a week.
Probably a week late.
At least 1 week late. We probably almost 2.
Yeah.
It was really cold, and then it was super wet, and weather conditions weren't great to transition them. So yeah, they could have been out a good bit longer, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But
so we did not put them out the weekend of my birthday, because that's the cold weekend. It snowed on my birthday. So that weekend, so it was probably around the 15th or so that we got them out on pasture. But
they're getting moved twice a day.
And they're
eating
crazy.
twice a day, plus sometimes snacks. Their twice a day feeding is as much as we're giving the rest of our entire flock.
Yes.
So, which happened
with
last
each
time.
feeding. With
That's
each
what I mean,
feeding.
each feeding.
Yeah.
So they're
getting
twice as much a day.
Twice as much a day, and pasture. They're moving on pasture twice a day. Okay, here we go. See if the bottle settles. Mike is quiet. I could turn up the general volume, but it's probably I'm just speaking louder than you.
Maybe I'm not as close to the microphone.
I think the mic is actually the video, the camera.
I hope so.
So anyway, we do have a second round that we just got of meat chickens. So we're planning on hopefully doing 3 rounds of them. These guys are now in the winter coop for our main flock. We converted into a brooder for them. They, from day one, have been going out into the run and hanging out and going in and out. So they really don't need that heat all the time. I'm kidding.
We have hit into the upper 80s, almost 90 a couple days ago. It's a touch cooler today.
Yeah.
It was moderately hot yesterday, too.
But it was in the 50s this morning, and they were already out in the run, hanging out. And they're like a week old now.
Mm-hmm. Almost a week.
Yeah.
They're a week tomorrow. They're hatched Monday, I think.
Yeah. Yep. So that flock, actually, you can see there's a bunch of yellow fuzzy ones. Those are the Cornish cross. The black ones mixed in, we have 6 of. Those are barred rocks. They're actually going to go into our laying flock. Those are sexed barred rocks, so we have 6 of them.
I thought you said they're Australope.
No, barred rocks. So they will be laying. They're dual purpose breed, so they should be a fairly large laying bird. But yeah, so we won't be harvesting those. In fact, I need to move those 6 chicks out probably into their own area in the next week or so, because those Cornish cross are going to completely outgrow them and probably could get bullied around with the bigger ones. Kiri says she has 5 goslings, hens on duck eggs. Ooh, cool. And hens on chicken eggs, and a broody with a hidden nest. Well, we also finally have 2 broodies.
Didn't get the early season, late winter batch, so.
I like having a February broody, because then they start laying in August, which is when the other girls slow down. You want to see Daddy? You want to see Daddy? You go, yeah, Daddy, take me. Okay. Switch over. Just don't do the back and forth thing. We'll see about that. So yeah, we do have 2 broody girls. I have them set up in the same coop. It's actually the winter silky coop with the little divider. I've done this once before where I actually had them hatch out in the same one, and then they started fighting over chicks. So they each have a dozen eggs under them. We'll see how it goes, because I'm thinking I need my other nursery tractor to put the barred rocks into. So, and I'll need to put them in there with a little heat, so a cozy computer or something.
And we have 6 silky mixed colored that are in a
on pasture.
Yeah, on pasture in a coop, and they're probably there for another week or 2 before we can let them out with Gus.
So yeah, these 6 silkies are in one of the nursery coops, so they're now on pasture within the fence that has Gus and the silky roo that we have, the lone silky roo. So Gus got excited when he first got them into his area.
He's watching them. He
likes to sleep next to their coop a lot. with evidence of big piles that he leaves behind near there. But yeah, so those guys will be joining the silky flock soon. Soon as they're big enough to not drown in Gus's pool is the goal. Then we'll start letting them mix in. And Carrie says, Broody Duck with a hiddenness. She wants to make herself heard on the live. I guess she's being pretty loud. Ours are not being too loud right now.
No, but this one.
Oh, this one is, yes. She wants to be heard on the live. She wants to be a part of this live show tonight. I do have a picture of Gus being a goof because, you know, geese tend to do that. And he likes to play in his bowls a lot. And in his pool a lot. So that's kind of where we're at with the chickens. I think that's all the updates, unless you have it. I think that's all of them. We're going to do butchery next week.
Yeah, the rest of the chickens are good. Yeah, so we're going to process 28. We lost 2 really early on day 1 and a few days later that were just not healthy. And so since then we've maintained 28. So the newest ones, I think all 36 are still there. Yeah,
so we have not, knock on wood, we have not lost a single one in that most recent batch we got. So 30 Cornish cross and 6 barred rocks so far are doing great and looking really healthy and running around everywhere. So I think we're pretty good with them. The other thing that we've been doing is working in the garden quite a bit.
Still behind, but not as behind as last year. Last year it rained so much for weeks. It was middle to end of May, I think, before you could even try to do anything. I think it was really end of May, moving it.
It was June before we could really do anything.
Yeah, it was unprecedented, the amount of cold weather and then rain. So everybody was screwed up.
Yeah.
We were also kind of behind on time. The weather's, other than was very cold and then popped, we had a terrible morel season. It was too cold, too dry, too hot, and ran right through the morels. But the garden's been able, we've turned, I guess 3/4 of the beds are turned.
Yeah.
We were saving 1 bed for later. Maybe both the last 2 were somewhat later in the season. We're trying to fight down the weeds from, because we had such a weed pile last year. We didn't tend to a lot of it. A lot of ragweed. Is a few pokeweed and things we want out. Some of the other stuff we don't care about. But we broad forked, changed the bed alignment again this year as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Doing a bunch of long, about 4, between 4 and 6 foot wide, longer, almost 15 and 20 foot beds.
Yeah.
With about 1.5, 2 foot paths between them, and then some big paths that we can get our rolling cart down. So Cindy's been planting those. I've turned most of those and worked on other projects.
Yeah, he's done the first turn. These recent beds started getting weeds in them before he could plant them, so I did a little extra turn.
But they are turning. They're turning relatively easily. We're able to get all the way down almost 16 inches. They turned pretty good last year, but it was a little harder because the lowest part had never been turned.
Right.
The soil is starting to look really good. It's looking like garden soil. Some of it's dark.
Instead of sand.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but it looks like a garden.
Yeah.
4 years out instead of beach sand.
Yes.
So we're definitely in the right direction. And we've got a good, and we've also broadcast spread. What did I get? 75 pounds of mixed forage plus additional sunflower seeds. I've spread all but maybe 10 pounds of that progressively when we move the chickens through the seasons and through the weather and the chicken moves. So that is starting to come up. We did have some heavy rains for a number of days at times, so that has helped sprout. So we are getting a good forage through a lot of the back open area fields that are not part of our fenced off garden.
Yeah. And by the way, we went from 25 degrees low to 90 degrees high within like 2 weeks,
2 or
3
weeks. Yeah, we had a big swing.
So
we had a very late frost.
Hard freeze. Not even a frost.
Yeah, aside from screwing up the morels in the middle of that, the beginning of the morels.
It did kill some of our plants too.
Yeah, and it seems like the top of our walnut lost its leaves that start. Some of the peaches in our area got hit pretty hard. It sounds like I think maybe
Ours are
some of the
new,
cherries.
so
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter on ours right now.
So some of the people that are in lower areas were okay, but it got so cold nobody could fight it. Some of the so yeah, I haven't heard from the fruit farms in the area.
Yeah.
The extent we were looking at our apple trees today, and they flowered after that, right after that, but I'm not sure that
We
we
don't
have
have any
any
apples. I don't see
apples.
any of them. So that might be a pollinator
So we might have
issue.
killed the pollinators or might have frosted them out. It doesn't matter. Those are kind of junky apples. We're not real excited about them.
Hi, Lisa.
But yeah, there's going to be some fruit damage because we were right at our average frost-free date, basically, it was like the 13th or 14th, and we got that
They got the hard freeze on like the 10th or something.
2 days in a row down into
Yeah.
so it wasn't even
9th
a
and 10th.
frost, it was
Yeah.
a hard freeze.
Yeah. We got down to 25 at night. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
it's been a long time since we've had a freeze that late.
Oh yeah, Carrie's got 70s and severe thunderstorms, hail, and tornadoes.
We're heading back to
getting
the
to that
low
season.
90s on Tuesday.
Today, triple digits and blue sky. There's a reason I'm in the north. I do not like things above 90 degrees too often.
Well, we've had some pretty terrible humidity, even in the mid 70s, where we had to turn on the AC. It was
just because it was so humid.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The back end of this week until really a little bit Friday, but really Saturday. But it was still hot yesterday and sunny.
Yeah.
Market opened this week, opened up under some restrictions, but actually allowed people to shop. We've had a terrible market opening of pre-orders, and people don't want to do that. So terrible. But all the little pop-up rogue markets came back together this week, and we did have a good
real
turnout.
market.
People were pretty excited to be there. The numbers were still down, but people were ready to buy, and I think everybody was happy. It was sunny and pretty hot.
Yeah.
We were not used to it. It was a bunch of sunscreen so you didn't get burned up. There's no shielding the way they've reset tents for social distancing. And a couple people didn't do so well in the sun. We're going to go foraging today with Nabi this evening with a big group, a moderate group on a private forage that we put together with friends, and had about 10 of us. And unfortunately, she worked so hard through Thursday and Friday and
she was not feeling well.
Just don't think she got enough water and got too much sun. And she's usually pretty good but it happened so fast that we had to cancel foraging today, even though the weather was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was hard on people at market, not quite being ready to be out on pavement like that.
Yeah. So.
How is business doing? Yeah, things are starting to open up. We are a state that was hard hit, and we're late to open. We have 22 to 25% unemployment in Michigan now. A lot of that has to do with the auto industries and manufacturing, supply chain that shut down. Restaurants are able to open starting tomorrow on limited conditions, which is usually
50% capacity.
About 50% or 6-foot tables. So you're going to start seeing restaurants progressively open, a lot of them over the next week, and just give it a shot. There's been more and more to go reopening as restaurants realized they just had to open, but other places were shutting down. Either their business was too slow or they had people around them that got sick. But we are looking at restaurants opening. Hair and salons and spas and gyms are going to now open in most of the state this coming week, in a week from Monday. So yeah, I have, as far as business, been staying extremely busy. We've gone through broken parts. I think around the time that we had the last live, I went 3-ish plus weeks with broken parts. I finally got in parts from Italy from one machine. Got a new machine in that's sort of temporarily up and running. We're still wiring some stuff. Need time for that. So we were back running in about 3 weeks. Probably lost a few cases to some wholesale clients that would have liked something a little quicker, but we made a scramble and have worked really hard the last few weeks to catch up. And we have serviced 95% of everything, but a few specialty things have gone out. We've picked up a bunch of new local clients.
Yeah.
There has been a huge push for local shops that do local business and food to include other local food businesses as a one-stop shop to kind of cross-promote and boost their sales when they can't seat as many, and sort of give access and support. So we have a local bakery, we have a bagel shop, the local grocery store even called us. I have a big produce wholesaler that I'm looking at doing something on the other side of the state. The other side of the state, our 4 established accounts are all still 300 to 400% up from
From
the
normal.
fall.
Yeah.
And so we're actually pretty much maxed out on trying to keep up. We're not even making much long dried pasta. We're just making short as fast as we can and as much as we can put in the drying area, since almost all of our fresh pasta has been set aside and not being made for restaurants. That's starting to pick up. I've just got some chefs reaching out about summer menus and slowly trickling. And we started making some chicken stock, chicken soup, and marinara sauce for markets for our local drop-offs. They're not jarred; they're quartered and either refrigerated or frozen, so they're for market or local delivery. And those have done quite well. We're going to phase out of the chicken soup and chicken stock as it gets into summer. It's not selling as much, but we'll probably add in another sauce. We just took on a new freezer to store more of that product. And yeah, we've been juggling trying to fix equipment, and our 3 part-time staff are all back at some capacity doing things, and so we're trying to juggle taking care of Bella and making pasta as efficiently as possible. So there was a lot of adjustments, a lot of website updates. In fact, I need to update our web numbers. We have more things available than showing.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so we're not making loads of money, but we're paying all of our bills, with the business, and we've adjusted and we've come through clean. We bought a new piece of equipment. I've got a 55 bag pallet of organic grain coming in on Tuesday from Minnesota. It's supposed to drop, so we've got to load down a couple $1,000s of grain because we are basically out of organic grain. So we're just in time. We're actually going to slow down production tomorrow and push it down to Thursday. Do a couple other things tomorrow because I don't have organic grain. So business has been fine. People have been super supportive. The demand has been high. We think it will continue in similar patterns.
Actually, at least as far as my work has gone, I guess last time we chatted, I was down working just a few days a week, where that only lasted a couple weeks actually, and then they brought us back in because they started doing telemedicine more for us, which we kept our schedules fairly full with that. Still not quite as overly busy, but we had such a backlog that it actually worked out pretty well. And somebody wants to chat about it. So I was I'm not really working from home. I was actually just on low census on those days before we got the telemedicine stuff up and running. And now we are doing a combination of seeing patients in person and telemedicine at work for our department. So I'm back to full-time working. So that has...
No, Zark, I hope your husband does get back. We are getting a lot of people around here getting callbacks. I think there's a lot more coming in the next week or two. So yeah, as long as people stay healthy, it seems like things are far from perfect, and there's definitely jobs are going to be lost or changed a lot, but it seems like there's a lot of opportunity. Yeah, Carrie, it is not super easy getting stuff in and out of a lower level.
Especially big appliances.
Yeah, with loading in equipment, I have a sort of a mini crane, pneumatic lift that I can lift 500 pounds or more, and put on the back of the truck, and it's like almost like an engine lift, so that can help me vertically lift. I think there's pictures of getting some equipment out. Everything else has to be thrown over the shoulder and humped up and down either one stair or another. We have a stair right into the shop that I use sometimes, and I can back a truck or car around there. Otherwise, I run it through another stairwell. But yeah, all the grain and all the supplies, I just got a whole pallet of boxes, cardboard boxes, flattened boxes. Amazing the little things you got to buy that add up. All kinds of printing material and labels and packaging. That all comes down by hand. Everything goes back up by hand. Everything gets loaded into totes for market, loaded into big coolers, and I toss them up the stairs and load them. So yeah, there's a lot of movement and moving things up and down. I'm kind of used to that in big kitchens and catering, but it's a part of the activity. So
and Bella's playing games with me.
yeah, the car businesses, because they're so intertwined across the world and the country, that we've had issues in Detroit where they've opened one shift and two shifts, and then they shut them down because they couldn't get parts from Mexico or Canada.
I think they're on the east side of the state.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of the bigger manufacturers because they're too intermixed, and then of course Latin America and Mexico is having a bad outbreak, so they're having issues getting their plants up and going that are supplying parts. I heard that a lot of cars they pass between South America and through North America, or well, I guess Mexico's not South America, but through the three countries or more, like 16 times back and forth, sometimes building a car. So I know that's a problem. Yeah, so we've been doing that. Businesses have been kind of slowly opening and trying to adjust, and I've been doing a pop-up farmers market on Wednesdays at a local restaurant that's just doing to-goes, and they've invited a bunch of us in for about a month now. It's going all right, and been grateful to them for the exposure. But we're seeing all the moving tables, getting all the different equipment and the shields. It's very, very expensive. Even the farmers market, more staff, hand washing stations, less people, less vendors. The costs are way up, but the revenues are down. And so I've talked to a whole bunch of restaurateurs about how they're going to adjust, how they're going to adjust for that, and how they're going to try and reopen and be able to pay the bills. So yeah, that's a deal.
Tina, her husband's still out of work. He sells the fancy wheels that you see on the '89 Chevy Caprice that are worth more than the car.
Well, the Chevy Caprices are still a huge favorite in Michigan, along with the Impalas, and God, there's a whole list of them. There's you put big wheels on them, you put small wheels on them, you jack them up, you lower them down. Michigan's kind of a fan of the old the old cars.
The supplier steel for Noah's Ark's husband's plant went out of business. Well, that would cause a lot of problems
We've had some businesses going out, some small businesses
in our area.
Of course, the big thing right now is, of course, the last week and a half of protests. And we have had some big protests, and we had some rioting and damage. We were pretty clear of it at first. Kalamazoo is a medium-sized city, and it's a very diverse city. It's not a wealthy city. It's sort of a middle class with a people on either end, but it's a very middle class. And racial tensions are not perfect, but my assessment is this town has done a lot for a long time to try and create balance. So I expected that we would fare pretty well. We have a very attentive, and this is Kalamazoo, not our little village. Has a very attentive city council that's very progressive. The mayor until a year ago, for 10 years or so, was an African American mayor that grew up on the north side, very involved in the community. And the assistant police commissioner and city or chief and commissioner, African American, a woman, another African American. So I feel like there's a pretty good dialogue, and that they've been working together pretty well. We have friends that are violently opposed and protesting and pretty radical. We have friends that are on the police force and do safety work for them. So I've kind of heard bits and pieces from both ends, and it's far from perfect. We did have a lot of damage Monday night downtown. There was, it appears, everybody believes there was out of town, and even some out of town people were caught. Broke windows down our mall, our traditional or historic walking mall, which is almost all very small privately owned businesses. They broke a lot of glass. They did loot and damage.
Everything's boarded up now.
Almost 3/4 of the downtown is boarded up, which nobody expected. It's pretty eerie. Some businesses are operating boarded up or unboarding during the week. Others are not. They're shut down, and some are reassessing if they're going to be able to open, because they're barely open or getting ready to open or looking at budgets. And with all this damage, a lot of the insurance isn't paying for it because it's considered terrorist activity. And so depending on how your policy is written, you may be on the line for the physical damage or the inventory loss. So it's pretty bad. It's pretty devastating. There was only really one bad night, and then we went into a curfew for about a day and a half. It was supposed to be for a week, and they brought in the state police heavily, as well as some National Guard, and locked down a perimeter of the downtown. So there were riot police and fairly heavily suited up crew blocking most of the downtown, and there was probably a few incidents, it seems like, but not a tremendous amount. However, there was so much dislike for having the state and the National Guard downtown that somehow there was a deal struck real quick on like Tuesday, I want to say. Wednesday. Yeah. Wednesday, we were supposed to go into the second day of a lockdown at 7 o'clock. And I was downtown at that market. We were all just going to finish our 6 o'clock market and get out. We're on the edge of downtown. And it was sometime during the afternoon, they said everything was over. There would be no more state or National Guard, that the city would do patrol through neighborhoods and keep a look, and they would take a very low presence, and they are basically not that visible at all. We had some major fires in 2 neighborhoods. They burned up 5 houses, unfortunately. That was, on top of the downtown damage. But since then, I have not heard of extensive activities.
A couple fires. There was one last night, actually, of an apartment building, but they're not sure the cause of it.
Yeah, some of them, the original ones were abandoned houses that got out of control.
Yeah.
But things, they are trying to settle things down. The police really are not making a visible presence. They're coming on calls, but they're not doing much else, trying to just settle things down. But I do think they're working with the city and with the different groups. There was big protests yesterday downtown. Some of them were planned. The high school students did something on Friday, I guess. It was big. And then the LGBTQ parade stuff got transitioned into a very large event yesterday. But I guess everything went smooth. And so, so that was sort of the big hiccup that nobody expected. And we didn't think Kalamazoo was going to be as badly affected, but it's taken a pretty hard hit. Not as bad as Grand Rapids north of us. They're talking $500,000 or more of physical damage just in the downtown. So
we actually closed early at the cancer center because we're a couple blocks off of that. They were trying to close downtown early this week. So there were a couple days where we actually try to get everyone out of the building, and I think there was also to try to board up the windows in our building.
They just want time to secure things, because you're right by the federal buildings are around the corner, and the county buildings are across the block. You're right in a whole bunch of, and there's crossovers between neighborhoods and main roads that are used for marches and protests, and people zooming around. So they're kind of not a high level target, but they're right in between where there had been a little bit of activity. So
I have no idea how.
It seems like in our area things are settling a little bit, but tense. But nationally, I don't know.
Yeah. So it's been a weird time. That's definitely for sure. Kind of makes home a nice place to come back to.
Yeah, I mean we're obviously not far out of the city, but it feels a lot different and we both interact downtown a bunch. The interesting thing, the market was well attended, very calm. Now they do typically allow some not demonstrations. That's not allowed. There are some. Hey, there are some select like canvassing for causes can be done. Although since we're only doing food vendors, I don't think that's allowed right now. But there was zero activity, zero political activity. One police car stopped down in the main. I thought they might have a couple police cars just to hang out. They don't typically do that. In fact, they're always available and nearby, but they're not really there during market, even with thousands of people. So one stopped by briefly, but I think he might have actually been buying product. Which
He was
we
shopping.
have ambulance crews and other things that come in and get breakfast or buy produce.
Yeah.
So yeah, the market was 100% uneventful and totally peaceful. People were happy to be there. There was fairly mixed crowd and zero problems. So
yeah. Apparently they were in the middle of Ford Road. Ford Road is a big road.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah,
A lot of people on roads here too.
Yeah.
We've had discussions about that, and I am not a fan of being in the road. I understand
Sidewalk's
people
fine.
say that you're causing a scene and you need to cause a scene, but I'm not sure that being in the middle of major roads is safe for anybody. So seems like there's other ways to do it, but
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so I mean, actually, short, some of the shorter days that I've had, or days where I've been sent home from work, have worked out at home because
yeah, you had 2 or 3 this week that were cut a little bit short.
yeah.
Just either because patients were canceled or things. So
Yeah, and but that's helped in a way, helped out here because I could take over with Bella and I can work in the garden a little bit. I've been working on when she's napping or still sleeping, trying to get out into the garden, but that's a hard one to juggle. So it does definitely keep us busy on everything.
So our sort of non-political approach to everything going on, because I have friends who are very actively involved downtown and very upset and very much protesting. And like I said, we have friends that are involved in public safety and obviously very upset that they have to go to work in riot gear and potentially do things that they have no interest in doing in their normal workday, which is usually helping people out. But for me, I'm so busy with trying to reformat and build a business and maintain a business that showing one of my, hey, that's not part of the show.
I
That
don't think
for
they
me,
might.
the best thing to do is to move towards normalcy and maintain normalcy and not extreme, and counteract the problems that are happening by not having another business get damaged and by trying to move forward and service our community through returning back to more of a normal situation. So that's sort of where we're at through all of this for the moment.
We did need to play. She goes, I'm tired, but I want to play because I'm not that tired. She had big naps today, which helped us out a lot. I got to go outside
Yeah,
more.
some days she sleeps a lot, some days she doesn't. So
yeah, so she had about a 4-hour nap this afternoon. But yeah.
So what else? So we've been getting the gardens going. We went from cold and wet to getting warmer. It's actually been pretty dry this week. The grass grew a lot this week because we've been getting dew and there's water in the soil, but that's quickly disappearing. So I did cut our selected areas. I actually had to go out with totes of water and water some of our new plants. So we put in some quince, some old style pears, some more pawpaws, a little bit of rhubarb. This was all about 3 weeks ago, a month ago.
Yeah,
some things didn't come in. We put in a marshmallow in a corner, a good King Henry, put in some hazelnuts. I think our northern pecans don't look like they're coming up. Everything else looks pretty good. An heirloom apricot.
a number of things.
Yeah, so we ordered about 30 different things. We had some multiples on some stuff. We didn't get everything. They came late, but we actually had to go bucket water some of the stuff. And
yeah,
I don't know.
Oh, something's
I think it's just birds outside.
As long as it's not a bird that Helix brought inside.
Yeah, so we're getting the gardens ready. We have the grass growing up in front. We've been clearing out areas and then just working the gardens and moving the chickens. So that's been taking a bunch of time outside of market time on the weekends, but it seems like we're moving definitely into summer. Where did you get your pawpaws? We got pawpaws from Oikos. All this came from Oikos Tree Crops. They're very, very local to us, but they're a national shipper, but they focus on Midwest and northern cold hardy perennial
No.
old rootstock that he's generated and crossed, and it's all been approved to be do well in the cold. So he has 3 or 4 different varieties of pawpaws. If a lot of them are out of stock right now, he has them in a whole bunch of different heights. Make sure you get a number of them. They don't always set in easily.
And they have to cross pollinate.
You have to have at least 2, and you need to look at your conditions of where you plant them. But ours seem to be doing all right. Quince is a very old fruit. It seems to be the predecessor to probably the modern apple. Quince is very sour, very tannic, and it has a big seed pod. It has a tremendous amount of pectin, so you can actually generate a lot of pectin in it. If you sugar it, you can make quince spreads like apple butter, or cook them down into a paste, quince paste, or in Spain they call it membrillo.
Quince paste is yummy.
You can do quince tarts or like galettes. Good amount of sugar with it, but it's very, very old. Do have to watch out because we're told a lot of people will not grow quince because quince can bring fire blight or one of the blight.
It can host fire blight, but not show it, not have the problem. So, but it could spread between
especially your other fruit trees that are blight potential. These that we got are supposed to be blight resistant, although some people claim there really isn't such a thing. Oikos, Oikos.
Yep.
Oikos tree crops. They're out of Michigan. You can search them. It's a small company, but notable. He's out of a lot of stuff, and they're running behind shipping. So I would say set up, ideally, unless you're in a really cool area, and I don't think any of us are at this point, you're going to be looking for fall at this point, and because you're going to have a hard time babying stuff through the summer. But yeah, definitely set up your plans for fall or next spring. He also does, he does trees, nuts, basically all fruit bearers. He does
a lot of perennials.
He does some grapes and grape-like. You can also get things like what am I thinking? Currants.
Currants, yeah.
And maypops and
elderberries.
Elderberries and a variety of other things. So yeah, it's one good source. They're kind of quirky, but they do some nice stuff. My mother made quince jelly from bushes. Yeah. We made quince from quince jams and jellies from our neighbor's bushes in New York. She had huge ones, never used them. Didn't realize you could. She's like, you can take as much as you want.
Make quince paste and
so quince is eaten throughout the world, but especially in hot areas. When it's cooked and sugared down properly, it's really good. You can also, I think you can also pickle it. Like do sweet and sour, like pickling and things with it. So that's so that stuff's all in process. We've been in our backwoods a little bit and trimmed that. Well, we haven't trimmed any of the stuff that's overhanging. It's not too bad, but we've been back there and mowed the paths a couple of times, so they're nice and accessible for walking. That tends to stay cooler, although mosquitoes.
I walked out this morning like this.
Mosquitoes exploded just over a week ago. They are vicious because we got like 4, 5, 6 inches of rain over a few storms, and it's out of control.
Perennial beans?
Perennial beans.
No, not beans. What? I think that was...
Oh, there's perennial. I don't think there's many perennial beans, at least in cold weather.
I think...
They have things like sea kale.
Perennial kale and perennial broccoli.
Broccoli.
What did you say that might have been mistaken as a bean?
Yeah. There are other things. He has like skirret and Good King Henry and
maypop, which is
what else
blanking.
Do we have on this
Passion
list?
flower.
Rhubarb is what else?
Maybe they found it. They're looking online.
Oh really? Well, that's different. Yeah, I mean most beans don't easily come back in the cold weather, but
I don't know. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, he's really cultivated specialty things. Some of them he's crossed and created his own hybrids or crosses. Those are usually called ecos on their site. Means it's something that he's sort of developed and likes. So I had a gift certificate from Christmas, and we got about almost a third, just shy of a third of what we requested actually wasn't able to send. Everything seems to have started except for one item seems to not. So
Yeah, no.
yeah,
Has the Maypop come up? I haven't looked at that
the
one yet.
maypops I think were shorted.
No, we planted it over by the we ouch. Planted it over by the cherries on the fence line.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
Those were the plums.
And we planted that too, but we planted one vine that we put in the ground to grow on the fence.
I don't know if
I
I
have
watered
to,
that.
yeah.
I don't know if I mowed it over. Is there a stake in
It's
it?
right on the fence, yes. We'll
Well,
have to go look at it.
I don't know. If there isn't a stake in it, it's always possible I mowed it today.
It's too close to the fence. You wouldn't
Right.
have mowed it.
I probably didn't water it at least.
Actually, I think it's what you were putting in the ground in that picture that I had here, right on the fence line.
I have to zoom in on that.
Okay, anyway.
I can't see.
So otherwise, yeah, I did one other project today. This is actually bug spray that I made from essential oils that if you want the recipe, I tweaked it a little bit, but it's basically what that 1870s Homestead recently released on their recipe, which I think she tweaked one from someone else. So you could go and check out that 1870s Homestead and get it on their video. But we'll be trying this out soon because we are running out of our bug spray. So we'll see. She was vouching for it. Rachel was vouching for it completely on her videos.
Well, it won't take any time to figure it out since we're in a mosquito swarm.
Yeah, although the dragonflies are starting to come out. So we also had my niece over, so we had a completely local breakfast when she was here that she enjoyed. Local eggs. You made the bacon, smoked the bacon anyway. We harvested and made the jam, and the bread that it was on, that she has not on her plate, but next to her plate, is on sourdough that you made. So completely local there. We have my birthday, which my birthday dinner was you made a homemade pizza.
Yep, that was like a 3-day cold ferment.
Sourdough pizza.
Well, it had some sourdough in it, but yes.
So that was really good. And then we had cake from a local bakery, which was really good too.
Stop kicking.
She does that when she's bored. So we do need to do a giveaway too. I almost forgot. It's getting pretty late. And we have about 12 people in the room. So I say we just open it up for everybody. The giveaway for everyone, whether you've won the last couple months or not. The rules on the giveaways, by the way, are if you you have to be the first person to show up on our chat to answer the question correctly, and I'm blanking. Okay. And it's usually having to do with something we mentioned in the live show. We'll give the question, but the giveaway this time will be a choice, of course, between pasta and one of the Clyde's garden planner, which I know a lot of people are well into the garden, but this is great for going on fall crops too. So year-round tool to plant your garden and to do some succession plantings. And we'll also give you 2 seed packets from Baker's Creek that are some fall crops as well. So two packages of seeds and the Clyde's garden planner to be sent to you. And question would be, in the first round of meat chickens, how many chicks did we lose? We did mention it earlier.
Yep.
In the first round of meat chicks, how many chicks did we lose? And the first one to come up, and I know there's a little bit of a delay here, so I'll give you a second. But those planners are really nice. I'm actually thinking about getting one for Laura and sending it down to Laura. They're not that expensive either. So if you guys go to, I believe it's rareseeds.com.
Michigan Mike
just got it.
Yeah, Tina was a close second, but Michigan Mike came in. 2 were lost.
Michigan Mike. So the question for
People are paying
you,
attention today.
yes, we lost 2 chicks on our first batch of meat chickens, but we lost 0 on our second
So
batch.
yeah, so text either to Part-Time Permies email or through the website or through my business contacts at West Michigan Promotions,
Or through
your
Facebook.
or Facebook, your desire for the planter and seeds versus 2 packs of pasta. If it's 2 packs of pasta, tell me what you want. Look through our website, or let me pick things that I think are fun. Even some of the things that are out of stock right now, I think are in stock. I have almost everything, but our long pasta's in
So
stock.
if something says out of stock and you really are interested in it,
Put
just
it. We
send a
may actually be
text.
updating it. So yeah, let us know, and we need
Congrats.
your address.
Yes.
We
Where to send it.
sent stuff before, but anyways.
No, he's number 1.
No, okay. So update your make sure we have your address, so we can get things going that direction.
So choice between the planter and seeds versus 2 bags of pasta. You'll have to let us know. Probably the easiest ways to contact is parttimepermies@gmail.com or through Facebook to private message to us. You can always go through the pasta webpage too, though. So yeah, congratulations. That's awesome. Whichever one you like. The other thing we have to do tonight before it gets too late here.
Yeah, you can tell us about what you ask questions about anything. Tell us what you're doing. We got stuff on food. We've been cooking quite a bit. Yes. Obviously, like everybody, been cooking not every night, but many nights. Doing a lot of simple things, just trying to keep, sometimes been pretty busy, but we've been, uniquely playing with a lot of fairly local things.
And this picture here includes one thing.
I was going to say, Tina, I know you didn't have it sent to your home, and that can be for convenience, but I was wondering if you're trying to hold off from your husband, because last time he got it. I didn't know if it was Father's Day or something, because I was wondering, we'll make sure I got it sent to the right place.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, we've been doing quite a bit of different cooking and playing around.
Yep. So what's this?
That was tonight's dinner. I actually had a plate of ribs. This is from Pat's Pig from November a year and a half ago. Yeah. We were trying to clean down the freezer and move stuff around to make room for the batches of chickens coming in and just get things out. Sometimes you put things away and they either get lost or you put things away trying to wait for the right time, and then you're like, well, we got to get this out of here. So I just kind of dry rubbed and quick smoked the ribs, and then there's some homemade hot Italian and Polish sausage that I threw on there just in case it wasn't enough, but it was plenty. Didn't know I was making dinner tonight because we thought we were foraging and having some forage stuff, so I had to pull stuff together quick. And then I had made some ranch potato salad and
this.
And then we had some lamb's quarters, sauteed lamb's quarters with a little olive oil.
And that was foraged. Technically, it was weeded from our garden and eaten tonight. So the lamb's quarter was taking over one of our beds that I had started some seeds in.
We get a lot of lamb's quarter.
We do.
The birds like it, but they don't get in the garden this time of year.
No. So it was kind of blocking a lot of my
birds like
seeds.
Everything other than the walnut starts, and the most annoying thing that they don't eat is
the ragweed.
The ragweed, and they don't eat much poison ivy. But we're getting a upcrop of ragweed over the last couple of years because they trim back everything else and then they let the ragweed go nuts. So we're actually trying to, one area where it gets really bad, we're trying to pull little bits every day and try and knock it down before it gets too big and seeds again.
Yeah, because we don't want to mow it down because we
got other things in there. Yeah,
we're growing forage in that area, so
we're fine with everything there, and the birds will either do good stuff for the soil or the birds will eat it, but the ragweed's getting a little out of control.
I think the ragweed likes the fertile soil because it doesn't show up in the less fertile areas of our yard.
Well, it's also ragweed happens in disturbed areas, and that's where the chickens are in the winter, so it's all the way taken down.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Bella loves those lamb quarters. She was, I was giving her little bites of the lamb's quarters from my food, and she was gobbling it up. So that was
the lamb's quarters are mild and just a little bit sweet, very much like spinach or little bit like turnip greens. The one thing is you need to pull the central stem off as it matures, and just use the leaves because the central stem gets a little tough for sauteing, definitely in a salad. But yeah, you can just blend in your salad if you pull the leaves off. It needs a lot of washing. You need to. Oh, by the way, this is a good thing for a lot of people don't know how to wash greens. A lot of cooks don't know how to wash greens because you get pre-washed stuff in.
Yeah.
You need to cut off the bulk, heavy, dirty ends or shake them out. You need to make a big bowl of water. You need to plunge, um, vegetables into that water and pull them out. You can plunge them pretty aggressively, but pull them out and let them drip and let the sand go to the bottom and then dump the whole bowl. And you may have to do that on some greens 2 or 3 times. The problem is people will just kind of spray them down or they will pour all the water out of the bowl
with the greens still in there.
With the greens in there, and then the sand goes back into the greens. So if you use not warm water, but you use kind of lukewarm, or not really, but just room temperature, that can help flush bugs also sometimes. Whereas if you do cold water, the bugs may dig in, get docile or dig towards the stems where they will stay intact. So that's a good way to get a few extra bugs out. But yeah, you can do a couple plunges, dump. Same thing. You can fill up if it's not too bad. At the end, you can fill up a lettuce spinner with a whole bunch of water, plunge it in that, lift it out, dump all the water, and rinse out any sand or dirt, and then spin it.
Yeah.
And that'll get you to a point where the problem is really like mustard greens are notorious for holding stuff, and all your leafy greens, especially after a rain. Bok choy is also terrible because of the crevices, the way it comes up into the bok choy, and it can also take spatter from mud and rain. You need to make a bat, and bugs love to get down into the bok choy in between the sections. So you actually need to turn them upside down or cut. Sometimes I'll cut them in half, but I'll just turn them upside down in cool water and aggressively grab the end and just pump them in and out of the water. I had a party for a couple hundred people one time where we cleaned pretty well, but we did not clean good enough, and we served some crunchy sandy bok choy for about 200 people.
Oh no.
It wasn't the end of the world, but we did hear about it. So
turns a person
that was
off.
a long time ago. But yeah, bok choy is really, really tough to get the sand out, but that method works pretty good. And if they're the really big ones that you're going to cut up and saute for stir fry, cut them in half or cut them in quarters, and then you can actually see into the crevices and make sure when you've plunged it that you've moved it all out.
How long was culinary school?
Culinary school was about 2 years.
There are some 4-year programs out there.
Yeah, but they don't teach you any food. That's all crap. They teach you management, and they try and get you a bachelor's degree, and those things are useful. But your actual fundamental cooking, some schools are as quick as 9 months. I think that's a little fast. Most of them are about a year and a half to 2 years of intensive cooking, 4 or 5 days a week. You have other things, reading, or, writing and culinary math and food safety and things that are not all in the kitchen. But you need to have most of 2 years, and that can involve 4 or 5 months of internship or externship off-site, where you're actually doing a lot of, hopefully working for a good place and learning more. So you're like, what do we do, 23 months and 18 months probably of actual school plus internship. So 2 years. All the rest of it is jumping through hoops for bachelor's and specialty things and marketing. We did some of that. So yes.
You had a bachelor's before.
I had a bachelor's before, so I'd done a lot of that already. And I still had wine classes, and we had, culinary French and menu writing and facility and design and restaurant law. Very, very simple, short classes, but enough to get a taste so you knew what was going on. People get out of culinary school and they think they're going to run the world. They probably need at least 5 years to even get their feet wet and see enough things to be ready to take on the challenges.
To run their own
probably
place.
People are usually around 10 years. If they're working in good places, even if they're pretty good, they're probably in the 10-year range before they're a senior manager. And sometimes a lot longer. Just depends on the rigor of the place and many other things. So Yeah, you can be the chef of the bar and grill pretty quick. But if you want to really get good and diverse and work in big places, notable food, culinary school is the beginning. Hopefully, you worked a little before that year or two, do 2 years of culinary school, and then put in a good 5 to 10 years hard, 50, 60, 90-hour weeks.
Yeah.
And then you might be kind of have enough under your belt to start doing some stuff for yourself or start leading some bigger kitchens.
Any other cooking questions, you guys? It is 10 o'clock, so should we do last call on cooking questions?
Yeah, if there's anything you guys are doing or
Yeah.
thinking about.
Or what are you guys making at home? I know some people probably cook at home all the time, being homesteaders, but is there anything that you've been playing around with since you're home more if you normally work?
We were given cattails we ate last week.
Yeah, we did get cattails. So we've had chicken of the woods this month.
A couple meals with some chicken in the woods. Yep.
We've had morels because Nobby found a bunch of morels.
Very, very few morels in our area. It was a bad year for morels.
Yep. And we had
Oh, I just got my hands on 3 pounds of dried morels though, from a friend who's liquidating them.
from a restaurant.
Yeah, I think we're gonna sell them for $20 an ounce.
Because they're really expensive to begin with.
A local store has them for $20 for half an ounce.
Wow.
I think we're gonna sell them for $20 an ounce.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay with that. But I need
sell
someone
them
to use.
online or sell them just at the market.
I will sell them at the market, and they'll probably mostly sell there. I need to just double check. There shouldn't be any licensing because it came through a licensed source. It wasn't from a forage source. So I don't think I have any restrictions on being able to vend them online. So definitely to any of you, like, if you want some more relics. These are dry, which means when they rehydrate, they end up being significantly more than the ounce. An ounce of dried mushrooms, as many of you may know, is not insignificant.
Curie has a sun oven that she's got to
Oh yeah,
repair.
you were talking about that last
Still
month.
got to repair it.
We got a new smoker barbecue a few
Yeah.
weeks ago. Our other one's getting kind of iffy, and got a good deal on even a little bigger, nicer one. So
Yeah.
we've been using that a bunch, and it's working great. It's better than the last one, and we were pretty happy with the last one. So until it was getting aged.
And Ozark said they wish they could find morels. They're done.
They're done. They're way up north probably and moving into Canada.
Yeah.
It's way too hot. So.
Yeah.
Linda's here.
Hi, Linda. Yeah, we're coming to the end of things. If you have any cooking questions, you could put it out there. But we're wrapping things up. There was another mushroom that we had 3 mushrooms. Didn't we have 3 different ones? I was thinking of earlier. I can't.
We had some oysters. There's some oysters that were given to us.
Don't
No, I saw some online. We didn't get any.
Yeah, morels and chicken of the woods were definitely 2 that we.
Pheasant back. We had some pheasant back. We did 2
Yes.
meals with pheasant back. I think we started that on the last live show, and we probably finished up. We did some that were like just floured, egged, and seasoned, floured, and pan fried over some pasta with marinara.
That was good.
And then I forget what we did with the other ones. Grill and stir fry. I think I sauteed them into something.
The chicken you put on the grill with the bok choy and salmon.
Well, yeah, no, I was thinking what we did with the other pheasant back.
Oh, okay.
The lid's removable at the moment. Well, that's okay. Never know when you got to put out a fire.
Yeah, a sun oven would be fun.
We don't get enough sun here most of the time. I mean,
Well,
I know
do
you
have
don't.
a section in the backyard.
We don't get that much clear blue skies where we could get a really intense.
Recently.
It's usually overcast most of the year, so.
Recently, it's been pretty darn sunny, but yeah, we're not like Seattle rain, but no.
But we are overcast 80 or 90% of the days, so.
Yeah.
It would be hard to predict using a sun oven for more than dehydrating most of the time.
Yeah. So what plans for Father's Day?
I don't know if we have any plans.
Yeah, I mean, about as many plans as we had for Mother's Day. Mother's Day is my birthday. Yes, I got flowers.
You got cake and you got dinner and you.
I got cake and dinner on my birthday. That was just after Mother's Day. No, I just.
What did we do? We got something for you too.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was now.
But yeah, so my birthday and Mother's Day tend to come together. But yeah, Father's Day is coming up. don't know. We have to figure out what we're gonna do for it
Well,
because I
Cindy
don't cook.
early got some chainsaw chaps, which she already gave me.
Yes, I did give them for combination anniversary and because our anniversary is this month also,
Mhm.
and Father's Day. I did get them some
That
chainsaw
seemed
chops.
more like a reverse giving, like some trees are supposed to come down, though.
Eventually, but you've been wanting to do that for a
Yeah,
while.
it's not
And
not on the list at the moment.
one video that went up was that didn't go up yet, I should say, that needs to go up, is that we had to take down a tree and back. I recorded that right after we got the cell phones. Actually, I recorded it on the cell phone
Yeah.
as a first trial. But so that was last season. Um, I'll put that one up. I'll have to start doing some throwback Thursdays, and really the throwback is just footage from last year. But but yeah, so we have more that need to come down, so I figure that's a tool
Cindy's
that's
been watching
helpful.
all the throwback. Dan from Grass Fed Homestead has reactivated old videos, and he's taking on new animals and shooting new videos after a good year or so off.
Yeah, he's been out of the picture for a while, but he is back. So if you guys liked, if you guys ever watched Grass Fed Homestead, Dan is back. And he's getting sheep. I just watched his video today. He's getting a couple sheep. He has a couple pigs. He has a few chickens. He's not going as big as he did before, but yeah.
Carrie, we do go out to dinner some. Probably won't go out. We typically don't go out Mother's Day, Father's Day,
Hmm.
Valentine's Day, because I always know the prices are either inflated and the product is probably the same or worse quality, and the service is also same or worse. So sometimes we do a little before or after.
Yeah.
I
Well,
used to do big, 500 people for Mother's Day and well, two or 300 for Father's Day. Usually big steak barbecues at the clubs. So usually worked extra hard on those days. Came home
yeah.
exhausted after big buffets, but I don't have to do those right now. So
Um, and our favorite restaurant is closed on Sundays, so that doesn't necessarily help Mother's Day or
a lot
Father's
of
Day.
restaurants around here are still closed. Are closed on Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we
we
have to do a day
tried.
off.
We tried to get to go at 7:30 last night.
Yeah.
Um,
From like 5 different
and a lot of
places.
people are not updating their websites, which makes it's crazy when everything's to go. It seems like the time to get your website timing and your current menu up is like one of the most vital things. And a lot of restaurants have not done that. We went through 5 restaurants in our local out of town area um,
On a Saturday night.
on a Saturday night, all of them closing between 7 and 8.
And it
Um,
was like 7:45
when we
or
first started looking, it was like 7:35. And then by the time we went through all of them and figured out orders,
it was 8
and
o'clock.
one place was, really, really delayed, although we probably could have got stuff from them by the time we ended up. So we ended up just getting Chinese from a local place that stays open late.
Yep.
And they're okay. They're up and down. But yeah, it's like, God, it's Saturday night and you can't get a meal anywhere after like 8 o'clock.
Would you like a apron like Justin's?
Those are pretty nice, actually. I
Yeah.
don't know if I would wear it a lot, but those are nice. I'm not sure I would wear it around the yard, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't wear it cooking. Do we have a
Yes,
Golden
leather.
Corral in Kazoo? There used to be a Golden Corral, but I think they closed it. But I'd have to
Yeah, I don't
check on that.
remember where.
They closed down Old Country Buffet. They were supposed, no, I think they're supposed to put a Golden Corral in, but I don't know if that ever happened.
I haven't been by there recently, so
Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
then they closed down a Cracker Barrel. Um, Yeah, I mean things have really changed that the buffet style restaurant of the last 20 or 30 years has really waned in our area where it was popular. There's still Bob Evans, which I haven't been to one in years, but some of those legacy restaurants, but they're not doing really well even in our area. So no, I'm not sure, but I don't know if I've ever been to a Golden Corral.
Yeah. Yes, he does have a nice apron. Um, I'm trying to think. If it was a half apron, I might use it for tools for like garden tools and such. Like a tool belt for garden tools would be nice in a
Yeah.
way, but so that you have everything you need when you go out there. You don't have to grab everything separately.
Well, that's part of the reason with Golden Corral they went from inexpensive all American country food buffet. We get a lot. It was a good format. I'm not sure it was super healthy, but it was well liked. And as people pinched money, the corporations pinched money to make more money, cut the labor down there. Almost everything went from microwave fried or baked off. Virtually nothing was made in house, and then they kept using products that were made cheaper and cheaper. And I think people just got cheaped out in a lot of ways and realized that they could do better, and it just sort of took itself somewhat out of play.
Yeah,
So
Linda, I remember the Ponderosas as
yeah, I
well.
remember going to Ponderosa's a bunch. They did the same thing. They were a cheaper concept. I mean, they were a marinated, tenderized piece of beef, which isn't necessarily bad, but it keeps the money down. And then they just kind of got played out and whatever and disappeared. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, Tina says that her husband was glad he had the apron for his butchery. That would be a good place for it in a
That's
way
true.
to keep because you get all the water splatter from the
Yeah.
plucker and you get all messy. That would be a good place for it.
The crazy thing is, I think the concept of buffet restaurant isn't isn't all bad. Americans love choice. We love overeating. And the variety. And if you program a buffet properly, like the casino, and you can have a low-end buffet or you can have a super high-end buffet. Think about some of the monster Chinese buffets up in Grand Rapids. They're like $8 for lunch plus beverage, and it's ridiculous. And not all the food's great, but the amount of things you can do, and if you actually go back, I think of that goes back to like the Southern Meat and Three, which is coming back. Even up towards the north, you're starting to see things sort of like that. That's perfect. Pick your protein, your meat, pick your 3 or 4 sides, have 6, 8, 10, 15 different sides, and whether it's a buffet format or it's a plated format, I think those really work as long as you're producing good food. Some of it can be pre-made and purchased, some of it can be made in house, but I think that's a great. Yeah, I worked for the corporation for Joe Crab Shack. My first job was a Landry's, which was the upscale of Joe Crab Shack. So we made some of their things, and then we made a bunch of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that concept was getting dated when I worked there, but it was very busy. I mean, we turned huge amounts of crowds and money. Some of the stuff was pretty good. Some of it was, but we cooked. We cooked real food, and we cooked almost everything there. I mean, we made our rice pilafs and our crab meat stuffings, and bulked it up, and so we were cooking real food. But Joe Crab Shack has been spun off from the Landry's a long time ago. They're no longer owned by the same groups, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, and Noah's Ark. No, there are no Ponderosas. They went out of business a while ago.
Yeah, one by that there was one that was still running as an independent, but I think that somewhere in the country, but I think that closed too. So they are done. Um,
Yeah.
Soft shell. I've served so many soft shells on the East Coast. We would get in, most of the summer because you chase them from the Carolinas all the way up into Canada through the earlier into the middle part of the summer. Soft shells are usually start like the prices. Try and get soft shells for Father's Day. Prices can still be too high because they may not come in um, for a while. Um, but then then the prices start coming down a little bit.
Michigan Mike has a Ponderosa.
Yeah, I think there's a couple that are independently run. They're still keeping the name. I don't know how they're menuing, but I think the corporation is, they've bankrupted a couple of times and reformatted. So, yeah.
Yeah, Tina bought a bread maker. Any garlic bread recipe. There's a bread maker recipe book, a really
Yeah,
big
I
one.
like the Bread Bible.
Yeah.
The author of the Bread Bible did one for bread machines. Those recipes actually work because most of the bread machine recipes don't work very well or they don't taste very good. She has about 300 recipes in there. It's very much worth it. I use that one for our bread maker. I've pretty much just been doing sourdough variants,
Mm-hmm.
not using the bread maker right now because you get an even better one. And being home and around, I can go through the wait times through my day. I still have to pay attention to bake it off, but yeah, but that's my go-to for bread baker, and you can do other things in them too. So yeah.
So we should probably wrap it up. Michigan Mike, don't forget to send us a message on what you'd like and where to send it. And then, yeah, and then we will try to keep releasing a steady stream of videos. I've been not on a consistent day, but trying to do about one a week. And
I think it's Bread Baker's Bible,
it's up in the cupboard, I
but
think.
it's for Bread Maker.
The Bread Maker's Bible, I believe, but he's probably going to see if he can grab it out of the cupboard. Bread Lovers?
Bread Lovers Bread Machine. Beth Hensberger.
Bread Lovers Bread Machine. Beth Hensberger.
Yeah, she's a pretty notable bread baker author.
So Bread Lovers Bread Machine.
Yeah.
Beth Hensberger.
Yeah, that's the one. The Bread Bible overall is a very good one, but I'm not.
We don't have that one.
Yeah, I guess that one's maybe just breads without the bread maker.
Okay. Okay, guys. So we will be back first Sunday of June, which will probably be a holiday weekend. I'm guessing. Let me think. I believe that's going to be on the 5th of July.
Okay.
So we'll still be here. We don't plan on going anywhere for the 4th of July weekend. So we will be here 9 o'clock on Sunday, the first week, Sunday of July. And we'll have updates from all of this month and all the projects we're doing now. If you have cooking questions or anything, by the way, you can always send them to us on our Facebook group or Facebook page. So you can send them a private message, however you like.
And we do have a lot more cooking that's gone over the last month on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, so a lot more has come up on Facebook and Instagram if you're interested in any of that. But we will catch you with our next live show and keep your eyes open for videos in between.
I like King Burger. Yeah, that sounds good. We'll make a lot of ways, but yeah, it's not a... yeah.
So, night, guys. See you next time.